Thank you, Mary. Welcome, everyone, to the committee chair's overview and good morning. My name is Fred Farias, and I'm chair of the Committee on Academic Workforce and Success. It is now 9:23 a.m., and I would like to call the April 23rd Committee on Academic Workforce and Success meeting to order. This meeting is being held via conference call. Please be aware that although we are meeting via conference call, this meeting is still being broadcast via the internet. So at any point, those staff members who are attending in person may be visible to those watching online. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome those joining us via conference call and ask that they observe the following etiquette. 1, please state your name before you speak. 2, mute your phones when you're not speaking. And 3, keep background noise to a minimum. Members, we will begin with a roll call to ensure that we have a quorum. First, I will take the roll call for all the board members, and then I'll announce and take the roll call again for the committee members. When I call your name, please respond by confirming that you are on the call. Mr. Anwar.
Aye.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Raven.
Present.
Ms. Schwartz.
Here.
Mr. Stedman.
Here.
Mr. Torn.
Here.
Ms. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. McKenzie.
Here.
Great. And the members of the committee that will be on voting will be Mr. Campbell, Ms. Schwartz, Mr. Torn, Ms. Williams, and Mr. Wilson. Please record in the minutes that we have a quorum. Before we begin today's meeting, I would like to announce that the following item has been withdrawn from the agenda. Agenda item 5B was consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to guidelines for the 2020 Texas Higher Education Star Awards. We'll now proceed to agenda item 2, which is consideration of approval of the minutes for the December 11th, 2019 committee meeting. Everyone has had these in advance. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Sam Torn, so moved.
Okay.
Yeah, and Cody Campbell is second.
Thank you. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you're voting for or against. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Campbell.
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz.
Aye.
Mr. Torn.
Aye.
Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so motion passes. Thank you. We move on to agenda item 3, which is consideration of approval of the consent calendar. The consent calendar includes non-controversial items that we think can be approved without comment or discussion. This allows us to save time for other items that need to have more attention. Highlighted items in the gray are the consent items on the agenda. I want to point out our practice of putting most of the rules on the consent calendar, given the extensive vetting process that they go through. However, due to current circumstances, we have placed additional items on the consent calendar for this particular meeting. Of course, any board member can request that an agenda item be removed from the consent calendar. That will give us the opportunity to discuss that item or items fully later in the meeting. Items listed on consent for this meeting are agenda item 5A, which is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the report on the fiscal year 2020 annual review of low-producing programs. Also, agenda item 5C, consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to requests for new degree programs. 1, Texas A&M International University Bachelor of Science degree with a major in computer engineering. 2, Texas A&M International University Bachelor of Science degree with a major in petroleum engineering. 3, Tarleton State University Master of Science in Computer Engineering. 4, the University of North Texas Master of Science in Engineering Management. 5, the University of Texas Permian Basin Master of Science degree with a major in Mechanical Engineering. And 6, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Doctor of Physical Therapy with a major in Physical Therapy. Agenda item 5D, report to the Committee on School Closures and/or teach-outs pursuant to Chapter 7, Subchapter A, Section 7.75. Agenda item 5E is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation with the committee relating to the appointment of members to the Workforce Education Course Manual Advisory Committee. Agenda item 5F is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the appointment of student representatives to the Apply Texas Advisory Committee, the Learning Technology Advisory Committee, the Graduate Education Advisory Committee, and the Undergraduate Education Advisory Committee. Agenda item 5G is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the appointment of members to the Advisory Council on Post-Secondary Education for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Agenda item 5H is consideration of adopting the staff recommendation to the committee relating to the appointment of members to the Texas Application for State Financial Aid Advisory Committee. And agenda item 5I1, which is consideration of adopting the Commissioner's recommendation to the committee relating to the proposed repeal of Chapter 4, Subchapter J, Sections 4.191 through 4.196 of Board Rules concerning the Work-Study Student Mentorship Program. Are there any agenda items that anyone wants to remove from the consent calendar? Again, anyone wanting to remove any from the agenda items on the consent calendar? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar?
So moved. This is Donna Williams.
Okay, I have a motion made by Ms. Williams. A second?
Emma Schwartz, second.
Thank you. I have a second by Ms. Schwartz. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you are voting aye or nay. Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Schwartz?
Aye.
Mr. Torn?
Aye.
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 4 is public testimony on agenda items relating to the Committee on Academic and Workforce Success. We do not have anyone registered to testify today, so we will go on to the next item, which is item 5A, which was approved on consent. And agenda item 5B was withdrawn. So we go to agenda items 5C through 5I1. These items were approved on consent. Agenda item 6 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Sam Torn.
I have a motion made by Mr. Torn. Do I have a second?
Second. This is Donna Williams.
Okay, I have a second made by Ms. Williams. Thank you. Members, when I call your name, please state whether you are voting for or against. Mr. Campbell?
For.
Ms. Schwartz?
For.
Mr. Torn?
For.
Ms. Williams?
For.
Mr. Wilson?
For.
And I vote for 4. Motion passes. We will now take a short break to allow staff to set up for the Committee on Affordability, Accountability, and Planning meeting, which will begin in approximately 5 minutes. Members, please remain on the conference call. Thank you.